A fan-made game takes on a life of its own and spawns an entire gaming movement. Let's learn about OpenBOR. Welcome to Brian Plays Games Bad. I'm Brian, and today we're going to talk about the OpenBOR game engine. Clearly, this begs the question, Brian, what's a game engine? A game engine is a software framework for creating games. It provides a development environment and various tools like renderers and physics engines and enemy AIs, all the things you might need to get a game up and running without having to code everything from scratch. You're probably already familiar with games using the Unreal Engine and the Unity engine. With that out of the way, let's talk about the OpenBOR engine, how it came to be, and the really cool games that have come out of it. But we can't talk about OpenBOR without first talking about Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage was released in 1991 for the Sega Genesis, Master System, and Game Gear consoles. It is widely considered one of the granddaddies of the beat-em-up genre. And while it certainly wasn't the first of its kind, it was an evolution of the genre that other games continue to take inspiration from today. The series would go on to improve itself, adding health bars to all enemies, improved movesets, longer levels, and amazing soundtracks. Two sequels soon followed, with Streets of Rage 2 and 3 released in 1992 and 1994 respectively. The game series was incredibly popular, and, as with most popular things, a fandom was born. In November 2003, a free fan-made game for DOS called Beats of Rage was released by Senile Team. On their Wikipedia page, they are quoted as saying, "You should know that we made it for fun. We never thought more than 10 people would ever play it." Beats of Rage would go on to make ports for Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, Wii, and the PSP. It was such a hit that it was featured in G4 magazine, and by 2006, more than 1 million copies were downloaded. Beats of Rage was special for another reason too, though. The engine it ran on was developed entirely from scratch and was extremely modular. Fans soon realized that without much effort, they could replace the characters in the game with custom ones. Understanding the modding possibilities of the engine, developer Kirby2000 obtained the source code and permission from Senile Team to continue development. Senile Team agreed, released it under an open source license, and called it Open Beats of Rage, or OpenBOR for short. The OpenBOR team that would soon form removed many of the limitations of the engine. They implemented high-definition graphics, extended the gameplay options available to modders, and even included a C scripting engine so that modders could change the function of the engine itself as they saw fit. The latest versions also support shoot-'em-ups, platformers, and RPGs on top of the already amazing beat-em-up game support. The open source license even allows for creators to release commercial games using the engine for free. OpenBOR has been ported to many systems and is still under active development. In 2024, OpenBOR 4.0 was released, and today it is supported officially on Android, Windows, Linux, and the Nintendo Wii console. Many other ports have since been discontinued, notably the PSP, Dreamcast, and Mac OS X ports, among others. Fans and hobby developers went to work soon after, and as of this video, there are hundreds of games available for it that range from fan sequels of the original Streets of Rage game, to fan-made games featuring cartoon, comic, and video game franchise characters. There are two main parts to an OpenBOR game: the engine executable and the pack file that represents the game binaries and assets. Sometimes when you download a game, it'll be packed together for you all nice, and other times you'll just download the pack file. If you need to put them together yourself, it's really easy. Download OpenBOR and unzip it to its own folder. In that folder, you will see openbor.exe and a folder called Packs. Put the pack file in that folder and start openbor.exe. If you only have one pack file in the folder, the game you have will start playing immediately. If you have more than one pack file in the folder, you'll be taken to a menu that you will then use to select the game you want to play. You'll have to use the keyboard to control the menu as it doesn't appear to have controller support. Speaking of controllers, if you're going to use one, you'll need to set the controls for each game independently, or otherwise, use the keyboard controls. All OpenBOR games feature menus on the title screen where various settings can be changed. The game will default to a lower resolution initially, but this can be easily fixed by navigating to the options menu for the game and increasing the resolution or choosing full screen in the menu. You can use the keyboard controls, a controller, or change button mappings in the control options menu. There's also usually a how to play menu that details all the moves available in the game. So at this point, you're probably wondering, how do I get started with OpenBOR games? Well, first, head over to ChronoCrash. There's an ever-growing library of games to download and play for free. Link in the description. If you're a developer and want to get started making games with OpenBOR, there's a link to the GitHub repo for the project in the description as well. Now that you know more about OpenBOR, you can play or build some amazing games. And that's all I have for today. If you like the content, hit that like button below. If you want to see more, consider subscribing or becoming a Patreon supporter. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.